Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Jeff Hovorka. I'm the Director of Media and Marketing for Denver Center Attractions. Thank you. I'll pay you later. It is a pleasure for us to welcome you here to the Sewell Ballroom this evening to take time out of your very busy schedules. Thank you for being with us. Normally now would be the time I would say, please do not take any pictures during our program, no recording devices, please do not tweet. But actually this year, we want you to take photographs, we want you to record, we want you to tweet. So have at it. We're very, very excited for you all to be here. And it is now my distinct pleasure to introduce to you our president and the executive director of Denver Center Attractions, Randy Weeks.
Thank you so much. It's great to see such a wonderful turnout. We're really excited about our season announcement. But before we begin, there's something that's quite incredible about working in the theater and really the people that you work with, the actors and the technicians and people that work in the box office and people who count the money and the people that come to our theaters, they all really become family. And as many of you know, we did lose one of our family members 2 weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago today. And that's why we are dedicating the 13-14 season in the memory of Mr. Robert Garner. It is really appropriate to mention Bob today because it is a true fact that Bob was the first person to RSVP to this afternoon's show. So we will always remember him dearly, and I'm sure he approves of what we've put together for the 13-14 season. Usually the summertime you think of theater and it being quite quiet, but that's really quite not true this year for the entire DCPA. We're doing a great deal of construction. The theater company is getting ready for the build of their first 3 seasons. Jersey Boys is currently playing in its 3rd week at the Buell. We've got 1 more week, and there are a few tickets left if you haven't purchased them yet. And of course, we're so excited. The Book of Mormon folks have arrived. The show looks incredible at the Ellie Calkins. And we'll be having our first preview on the 14th, and we're just so thrilled to be opening that tour. I'm going to be doing a few shout-outs, and I really can't see anything beyond about there. But I would ask Mike Miko, Jeff Mercer, David and Michelle McKellen, and Suzanne, I'm going to ruin this one, Morowski, to stand for a moment. They are group leaders, and I know there's a lot of group people in here. Those 4 people are responsible for bringing over 3,000 people to our theaters last year. Let's hear it for them. You will note when we get into the program that we have created the 13-14 season, and it's a long season. We call it an extended season. If you remember back quite a while ago, we had an extended season when we had the opportunity to open the national tour of The Lion King. And we added it on, and it really made it about a 1.5-year tour, a 1.5-year season. And actually, we are doing exactly the same thing again. And this season will go for approximately 17 months. But also, we are going to be continuing in the 13-14 season. And it's becoming, I can't quite say a tradition because it doesn't always happen, but as we're opening Mormon this year, we are thrilled to be opening another national tour next year, a Tony Award-winning production that's currently playing in New York. And when I mentioned earlier the concept of family, I have to tell a bit of a story because a very, very dear friend is the producer of Peter and the Starcatcher. And I've been working with Nancy Gibbs for a number of years. She's been involved with Wicked. You might know about that play. That musical, it's rather large, comes back a lot. When I was talking to Nancy and told her that we were doing a bit of a big announcement, and would she consider coming out and partaking in the event, and she was like, Randy, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. So if I could get Nancy to come up and say a few words about Peter and the Starcatcher. Nancy, you're here. I can't see. There she is. Thank you.
Well, this is a great treat for me. I grew up in Denver. I went to TJ. I went to Colorado College. I got my master's at the University of Northern Colorado. And then I went to New York by way of San Francisco. I've been in New York for about 35 years. I make my living as a general manager. And about a year and a half ago, I saw a show on the Lower East Side of Manhattan called Peter and the Starcatcher. And it wasn't a musical, it was a play with music. And I went to see it, and it was so magical and so amazing that I said, I'm going to have to put my producer hat on. I only put my producer hat on about every 5 years because it doesn't set easily on my head. My manager hat sets much more easily on my head. And I then put together a team of producers, and we went to Disney, who had the rights to Peter and the Starcatcher, and they said, well, it's a play, but we don't do plays, and it's really for older kids. It's really for, you know, maybe 8, 10 and above, and we will support you. And so we have Disney support, and they are a producer on the show with us, but our New York producers are the lead producers, and this is a story about the backstory of Peter Pan. At the beginning of the show, it is about a nameless orphan. You don't know who he is, and I've talked to people who didn't know that it was who that person was going to be and didn't know until the end, and it was like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. But we do tell people that it's about Peter Pan, but it's for it's quite amazing. We have a great artistic team. Roger Rees, who was the original Nicholas Nickleby, a great actor. I'm sure you've seen him on TV, West Wing, Cheers, Warehouse 13, and he's one of the directors. And Alex Timbers, who is a great new talent, who's going to be quite something in the theater. He's about 6 foot tall and very attractive young man who did the Pee Wee Herman show. He did a wild show called Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson at the Public Theater. The author is Rick Ellis, who wrote Jersey Boys. And the designers are 4 young designers who all won Tonys this year for a show that doesn't have a giant physical production. The set designer did a show on Found. She's very big on the Broadway Green Alliance. So she does recycled materials. So most of the set is recycled. A lot of it from the Disney warehouse. The costume designer shopped at L&M. They're quite amazing, and they're a great group of designers, and they all won Tonys, which was just an extraordinary experience for all of us, for all of them, and we're so thrilled that Randy stepped up and said, we'd like to be the first city on your tour. And since I'm from Denver, and the Denver Center is an amazing producing organization. We've worked with them on Traces and on Next to Normal and Spelling Bee, and we can't wait to come. We want to tell as many people as we can about Peter and teach them what it's about. It's a great group show. It's really the kind of show about why I got into the theater. And so I'm really thrilled that we're sharing it with all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nancy. That was wonderful of you to come out all the way to share that with us. As I've mentioned, it's a large season. It will go for 17 months. It might seem a bit monumental, but our subscription office has worked out some programs where you can pay for it over a period of time. I think 8 payments for as little as $36, which is about half the cost of my phone bill. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and I think a video is worth 1,000,000 words. So enough for me. The 2013-14 Denver Center Attraction season.
Denver Center Attractions is proud to present a sensational, exciting, and diverse group of shows coming to Denver straight from Broadway. Warhorse kicks off the season from January 8th through the 20th in the Buell Theater.
It was important to me, and right from the outset, to write a story which was a look at the universal suffering of that war and any war.
Winner of 5 2011 Tony Awards, Warhorse is the powerful story of young Albert's beloved horse Joey, who has been enlisted to fight for the English in World War I. At its heart are astonishing, life-sized puppets created by South Africa's Handspring Puppet Company that bring to life breathing, galloping, charging horses, strong enough for men to ride. Next, a dark and dangerous love story. Jekyll and Hyde plays the Buell Theater January 29th through February 10th. American Idol star and Tony Award nominee Constantine Maroulis joins Grammy Award nominee and R&B superstar Deborah Cox to inject new life into the classic tale of good and evil. Flying into Denver is the clever musical Catch Me If You Can from February 26th through March 10th at the Buell Theater. This show captures the astonishing true story of Frank Abagnale Jr., a world-class con artist who passed himself off as a doctor, a lawyer, and a pilot, all before the age of 21. With straight arrow FBI agent Carl Hanratty on Frank's trail, we're off on a jet-setting cat-and-mouse chase as a jazzy, swinging 60s score keeps this adventure in constant motion. All the way from Nashville, Tennessee, the Doyle and Debbie Show plays the Garner Galleria Theater in the spring of 2013. This new hit musical featuring all original songs is a sublime homage and parody, simultaneously idolizing and lampooning country music's tradition of iconic duos and the battle of the sexes that accompany them. Fresh off an 8-month stop in Chicago, Nashville's perennial favorites Doyle and Debbie venture west to take Denver audiences on a wickedly funny and freewheeling joyride. Get ready, Jane Austen fans. We are proud to present the world premiere of Sense and Sensibility the Musical, playing the Stage Theater April 5th through May 26th. In this grand musical adaptation, the impoverished Dashwood sisters, the sensible Eleanor, and wildly romantic Marianne spring to life from the pages of Jane Austen's beloved novel and right into our hearts. Determined to find happiness in spite of their circumstances, one follows her heart, the other her head, yet each triumphs romantically by remaining true to who she is. Get out your star stuff. Winner of 5 Tony Awards, the most of any play in 2012, Peter and the Starcatcher, the most mayhem-filled evening of madcap fun on Broadway, will launch the national tour here in Denver at the Ellie Calkins Opera House from August 16th through September 1st. In this innovative and imaginative new play, a company of 12 actors plays more than 100 unforgettable characters, all on a journey to answer the century-old question, how did Peter Pan become the boy who never grew up? It's raining men, finally, and I Will Survive. Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, the most outrageously fun Broadway musical with a parade of dance floor hits, plays the Buell Theater September 3rd through the 15th. This spectacular show tells the uplifting story of a trio of friends on a road trip of a lifetime who hop aboard a battered old bus searching for love and friendship in the middle of the Australian outback and end up finding more than they could have ever dreamed. Okay, sisters, it's your turn to take the stage. Sister Act plays the Buell Theater September 24th through October 6th.
I think when you look at a nun, you assume a kind of, I don't know, spirituality and otherworldliness. But you know what? They want to rock just like everybody else.
Sister Act tells the story of Dolores Van Cartier, a wannabe diva whose life takes a surprising turn when she witnesses a crime. The cops hide her in the last place anyone would think to look, a convent. Under the suspicious watch of Mother Superior, Dolores helps her fellow sisters find their voices as she unexpectedly rediscovers her own. Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber's Tony Award-winning musical, Evita, returns at last to the Buell Theater in January 2014. Evita tells Eva Perón's passionate and unforgettable true story and features some of theater's most beautiful songs, including Don't Cry for Me, Argentina, Another Suitcase in Another Hall, and High Flying Adored. Don't miss the stunning new production.
We're gonna
Put on your dancing shoes. It's time for a trip down memory lane for $1 Million Quartet, playing the Buell Theater February 25th through March 9th, 2014. Inspired by the electrifying true story of the famed recording session that brought together rock and roll icons Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Carl Perkins for the first and only time. On December 4th, 1956, these four young musicians were gathered together by Sam Phillips, the father of rock and roll, at Sun Records in Memphis for what would be one of the greatest jam sessions of all time. $1 Million Quartet brings that legendary night to life. When your mind's made up. And finally, fresh off of Broadway, the 2012 Tony Award-winning Best Musical, Once, plays the Buell Theater in April 2014. Based on the Academy Award-winning film, Once tells the story of an Irish musician and a Czech immigrant drawn together by their shared love of music. Once is a musical celebration of life and love, thrilling in its originality, daring in its honesty, and unforgettable in every way.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joey. And as you can see, he's a little bit agitated. He's never played Denver before, so forgive him. He's a bit nervous. Is anyone here who could maybe calm him down and feed him? Randy, do you want to come up?
I think so.
I'm going to give you a sugar cube. Just hold your hand out nice and flat. And he may come over. Come on, boy.
Joey. It's all right. Come, Joey. It's okay.
All right.
It's all right, Joey. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Good boy.
That's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
He's a little bit nervous of strangers, so forgive him. But I think he likes you.
It's all right. Great. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Tim Lewis, portraying Captain Nichols, and of course, Joey. Tim, I understand that you've been involved with Warhorse really from the beginning in London, is that right?
Yes, I was lucky enough to be involved in the first production. I was doing another show at the National Theatre in London, and I just have to watch out for the back of the horse. I don't want him to kick me. He does kick, by the way. I was involved in the first production. I was doing another show at the National Theatre, and I was asked to take part in a month-long research and development workshop, which was partly to make sure these horses work and to work on the script. And I was lucky enough to be a puppeteer in the first production. In the revival, I played Captain Nichols, and then I took that into the West End.
Could you tell myself, I'm interested in, and actually I grew up with horses, and this is quite remarkable being on a stage with Joey, because this is exactly what it's like. But could you tell us, I mean, how did this play come into being?
It was developed by a great man called Tom Morris, who at the time was an associate director at the National Theatre. And he'd seen Handspring Puppet Company's work. They're a company based in Cape Town in South Africa. And been making amazing puppetry work since about 1981. And he wanted to find a project to work with them on. He took some people out from the National Theatre in 2004 to see a production of theirs in South Africa. And at a similar time, his mother suggested to him he read Michael Mapugo's War Horse, which was a book written in 1982. And it seemed like the perfect piece to collaborate with the puppet company. And then about a year later, the workshop started, and it took from that about 2 years until that first production we talked earlier.
During those 2 years, there must have been challenges.
Oh, yeah, huge challenges. Firstly, how you can get a human being like myself to ride on the back of a horse that's supported by 3 guys. It was a long process. It began with 2 people standing in the middle and literally a ladder over their shoulders and someone sitting on top. And from that, we then have Joey.
Once again, I mean, the realism, I mean, I'm sure you all can feel it out there, but it is eerie being with Joey like this. And see, is it jumping? Can you tell us a little bit about the puppetry and how the actors are able to create this realism for us?
Of course. The main thing, as you can obviously see, is 3 people playing one part. A huge part of it is the complicity between those 3 puppeteers. They all have to be working together and know what each other's doing. But I can break it down into smaller parts. We have Ariel on the head here, the head operator. And each part of the horse has their own kind of technical task to achieve and their own emotional indicator. With the head, it's the eye line is their technical task. As with human beings, animals are very keen observers of eye line. An eye line tells us a lot about what someone's thinking, what a horse is thinking, what a horse wants. The other massive emotional indicator that Ariel is in control of is the ears of the horse. They can tell a lot. If I come around here, and I have to watch out it doesn't kick me, but if I come around here, you can see he can listen 360 degrees. Also, in terms of the eye line, we learned a lot behaviorally. I'm sure any horse people among you know that you shouldn't stand face on to a horse. They perceive human beings with their forward-facing eyes like wolves, kind of predators. So if I turn and face him now, he doesn't like it. And you can see the ears in action. Now if I turn around, if I soften, his ears soften, and he's my friend again, hopefully. Good boy. Moving on to the heart. We've got Stuart here operating the heart and the front legs of the horse. The main technical task for the heart is to give the horse weight. This horse weighs about 40 kilos. It's made of aluminium and cane and wood, as light as possible, because these guys have to carry it for 2.5 hours. But it also has to be strong enough to carry actors like myself on the back. So when a foot hits the floor, there's nothing but wood in there, but Stuart has to give it the feel of the whole weight of a horse in that. Very good. Then the main emotional indicator for Stuart is the breath. Breath is a very important part of puppetry and part of Handspring's philosophy on puppetry. Basil Jones, who's one of the founding members, talks about the difference between an actor and a puppet. When an actor walks on stage, the first point of business the actor has is to start telling the story. It's simple. We take for granted the fact he's alive and he's breathing, or most actors anyway. But the puppet, the first point of call, he has to be alive in the space. You have to believe that this is a real being. And in doing that, you actually invest in the horse more. You invest in the story of Joey more, which makes the show that much more spectacular. There's lots of different breaths. We've got kind of a long, slow, exhausted breath after maybe a long gallop. And we can switch into a kind of quite a fast, agitated, nervous breath. All right. And finally, a kind of an angry, what we call a super horse breath, which he tries to make himself as big as possible. Good boy. Good boy. Very good. Moving on to the hind of the horse. Ian Pearce in the hind. His main technical task, again, is weight, but specifically when the horse moves off, as you'll know, these muscles in horses are massive, these big rump muscles, and there's a lot of power that comes from them, especially when kicking off. I better get out of the way because he might kick me. The other emotional indicator he has is the tail of the horse. The tail and the ears are very, very delicate, but they tell a lot about the horse's state of mind. And also one more technical thing, actually, about Ian's job is to make sure the gait of the horse is right. You can't really tell. I'll get him moving in a minute, but Stuart can't see what the hooves behind him are doing, so Ian has to be acutely aware of what Stuart's doing and where his footfalls are, so he can match it up. We're just going to put him through his paces a little bit. I'm going to get him to walk, and you can kind of see the gait. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quite a regular rhythm. You see Ian has to time it up. We're going to go into a trot now. T-rot. Good boy. That's a 1, 2. It's alternating, forward and back. And lastly, we're going to go into a gallop. Come on, boy. Good boy, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Good boy. All right. All right. He's, I think I've put him through his paces enough. He's getting a little bit tetchy. We're going to leave you. I'm just going to see if I can get him to do one more thing for you before we go. Come on, Joey. Rear up. Good boy. Way up. Way up. Good boy. Good boy.
Thank you, Tim. That is incredible. That is incredible. I wish you could have all been up here experiencing what I was experiencing. Tim, just a couple of questions. These actors are so talented. They make it so real. I mean, is it all choreographed, or are they working, intuitively with each other? Is it improvised? How do they work it?
It's a bit of both. There are choreographed kind of moments. That rear, for example, everyone in the horse, the three guys, are aware of the biomechanics of what needs to happen when a rear happens, but it's intuitive and improvised when it comes to actually initiating those movements. The main thing, like I said, is getting the three guys working together as one, breathing together. So they'll also communicate with little sounds. They'll make kind of little stuff like that when it comes to change of direction and stuff like that. But it comes with time and with working as a team, yeah.
The other thing, and to be honest, we did a run-through earlier, and so I got to be up here one time previously. But once again, growing up around horses, the sounds that the guys make when they're operating Joey, I mean, the first time it literally startled me because it is right on. I mean, it is exactly the way a horse sounds. How do they learn that? How do they work that out?
They worked a lot with the voice coaches and tutors at the National Theatre, because a horse has a massive pair of lungs, and these three actors, they have to work together as one, so they all make the sound, all three of them at once. And if the guys are out of horse, they might be able to come and show us how it's done. Here we have Ariel Hellows on the head, Stuart Angel operating the heart, and Ian Pearce on the hind. Guys, Randy was just asking about how you make the noises in the horse. Can you show us?
Yeah.
Bravo! Well, I would like to thank these four gentlemen, and of course Joey, for joining us today. It's made it an incredibly interesting afternoon. We so look forward to Warhorse playing in our city, and we so appreciate you coming. I know it's a long trip, and you made our afternoon. Thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's it. That's the season. I want to thank you all very much for coming. I hope you're as excited about the 13-14 season as we all are here. You are more than welcome to stay. There is plenty of food and drink. We have representatives from our subscription department, our group sales department. Basically, anyone can answer any of the questions that you might have. But you have now seen the 13-14 season. Enjoy the afternoon, and please safe home. Thanks for coming.